Hi everybody. Today we're going to do some basic editing in Photoshop, and I know some of you are already getting really advanced with this, and but we're going to keep it simple today for everybody. And so the first thing I'm going to do is open up Photoshop, put myself down in the corner here, and I'm going to go up to the top and click File. I can either open, if I want to open directly to a file and I know where it is. I can create a new file if I was layering or something like that. I'm just going to go ahead and browse in Bridge. Notice Open Recent is here too, in case you want to go back to something you were just working on. So browse in Bridge, and then we can see everything that's already organized, so it'll take a second for Bridge to open up there. Alright, so now once we get into the Bridge, let's see where the top of it is. Alright. I can do a couple of things. Right now it's the last place I was is where it's showing me my desktop. If I click this little arrow here, it says go to parent or favorites. We can go to our computer, and if you have a memory card inserted or another device inserted, it'll show that here. Like I have this memory card, but nothing on there that I want to use, so I'm going to go back to my desktop. That's where I keep things. You might keep things in your pictures or your documents, wherever you keep things, so you're going to go there. And I'm going to go to the raw files that I've saved, and I labeled that folder so I can find it easily. And then here's some nature shots. So the NEF part here, that is my Nikon raw file. That's what that extension stands for. And then this, it looks like a blue gear. That's a program that I like that I got off the internet called On1 Resize. And that's if once we get into printing, if you wanted to make your photo larger so you could print it larger, it's a great program. But this is called a sidecar file. So when you've edited something, it just kind of accompanies that picture in whatever folder you're saving it. Okay, so let's try this one. So I double clicked on it. Now it's going to take me to Camera Raw. It tells me what kind of camera I'm using up here and the file name, all kinds of things in here. And I love all the sliders. You can tell that I've edited this one already, and it just opened up right to where I edited it. So if I go to something I edited and double click, it'll take it back to where it was. So I did want to increase the exposure on this one, so back up to where I wanted it, and my contrast, I increase that a little bit, and that also increases the sharpness. So you can see probably why I did the things that I did. So the shadows, these dark areas, I am recovering some of the shadows and getting some of that detail back in, especially the color in the background, because I like more color. It's just basically green and blue and black right now, and I'm bringing in some of those browns, orangey browns. And then clarity, of course, is everybody's favorite thing to do. I don't want to overdo it, but it's wonderful, good times, fun. Saturation, that is going to make my colors more intense. And then I can scroll down, and there's all kinds of things in here, but we're going to keep it simple. Okay, now I'm happy with where it is right now. If I click Done, it's going to save that raw file as how I edited it. But if you were to open it back up again, of course you could change it because it's still the raw file. I want to go Open, and that's going to open it into Photoshop, so we can do a little more. Okay, so here's my same image that I edited in Camera Raw, opened in Photoshop, it is still a raw file. What I do, rather than try to send somebody this enormous raw file, and I'll show you how big they can get. If you go up to Image and Image Size, you can see that it is quite a large file, 69 megabytes. So you know that if you're entering photography contests, they usually require that it has a certain size, and image size is where you can change those things. And I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm just showing you how big it is. And then I'm going to save it as a JPEG, because if I were going to turn this in a class, I would want it to be a smaller file, and saving it as a JPEG automatically compresses the image to a smaller size. So I'm going to click File, Save As, decide where you want to save it. I usually always save to my computer, but you guys, you know, it's your personal preference. Right now, this is the name of my image, this is the location where it would save it, and this is the format. So if you wanted to save the name of the image, I personally, I think I've mentioned this before, I don't change the file, because say you want to go back to an original file and you want to search it, and you know what number the file is, and you want to find every version that you've saved. And this will get into like when you're creating a portfolio for yourself, you want to have every version. So I save that, and I can add to it and say this is Galilee, and I still have the original file name. I don't want to save it to raw files because it's actually a JPEG. So I'm going to go here and save it as a JPEG. If you don't see what you want, this is just my recently used folders. You can go over here. Here's going to show me my whole desktop. Here's going to show me my whole computer. So I'm just going to go to my JPEG folder that I already have, and then I'm saving it as a JPEG. And then I'm going to click Save. So that's just saving a copy. It's not changing the raw file. And then here it shows you like a quality check. This is the highest quality it could be. And this slider, if you wanted to increase the quality, you could click one of those and OK. Okay, so it takes a second to save, and then this is my new file name here. And so right now I just have the JPEG open. It's already closed the raw file. And I'm going to close that now. Okay, now if I wanted to just edit a JPEG, if you aren't saving your images as raw files, they're probably JPEGs. They might even be another file type. And if you're having difficulty figuring that out, please just let me know and I'll help you. Okay, so now let's go to File, Browse and Bridge again. And this time I'm going to go to my desktop, just click, single click, and find my JPEGs. Double click to open. You can see I tried this out already. It's my second version of this video. Okay, so if I single click, it just shows me a larger version. If I double click, it'll take me, open it up in Photoshop. And this time, because it's a JPEG, it's going to open right in Photoshop. It won't go to RAW at all because it's not a RAW image. Okay, now if I wanted to edit just from Photoshop, I can do it one of two ways. I can go, there are some editing things that you can choose in here. I usually always go to Image and then Adjustments. And then here is all your basic editing tools, brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, all of these things that you can experiment with. It's really fun. And then another way you can look at it is you can go over here to the icons. I actually have my Photoshop set up to Photoshop, I think it's photography. So my workspace is set to Window, Workspace, Photography. So if your setup doesn't look like mine, that's probably why. And then over here I've got all these little icons. It's just a faster way because then you get, you click and you get a slider. It just saves a single step. And sometimes that can just make your world. So here, this one is brightness contrast. You hover over it, it'll tell you the name. I could increase my brightness or decrease my brightness, whatever I wanted to do. And I can always go back to 0 if I'm not. Feel like I don't really want to change that. Increasing the contrast is always going to increase the difference between things. So darks become darker, lights become lighter, and also it will increase your sharpness. Okay, and then I can try some other things over here. Levels is a little bit advanced, as are many of these things. Exposure is just maybe when you were taking the picture, it was a little dark outside and you want to make it as if it was brighter when you took the image. So exposure is one of the places where you can fix that problem. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about these other two things, just a little bit too crazy advanced. Over here, hue saturation, another one of our favorites. I'll show you a little bit about that. If you change the hue, you're actually changing the color. But if you look at the color spectrum here, going this direction is going to make it cooler. This direction is going to make it warmer. But you're actually changing the colors in the image. So if you don't really want to do that, then I wouldn't even use it. If you're increasing the saturation, then overall in your entire image you can increase the saturation of every color in the image at once. Or you could go up here to master, click on that, and the master is the entire image. You could just choose a single color to increase if you wanted that color itself to pop. For example, if I just wanted my blues to be stronger. I don't really have a lot of blues, but if I play with this slider, you can see exactly where all of my blues are located and what's going to change. And I can just play with that just a little bit. Maybe I want to bring up those blues a little bit. And you can experiment. Like for instance, I really don't have very many reds. Maybe this reddish brown. I wanted to saturate that. You can see going all the way where it is located. And just play with that. Alright, so we experimented a little bit with saturation. Again, master is everything, and then you can do one color at a time over here if you're interested in making a single color pop. Ooh, that brings up my reddish brown down there. Very nice. Okay, I can make that all disappear. And there's all kinds of things over here you can experiment with. Have a good time. Now, down here in my layers panel, it's showing all the things that I've done. Everything that I clicked on. If I want to get rid of something and I feel like, I didn't really like that, I can click just the eyeball and get rid of all of that experimentation. And then, of course, you can make them reappear. If you just click in that area, it'll come right back. You can also click and drag a setting down to the trash can you're sure you want to get rid of that, just put it right in the trash. My picture is blocking. There's my little trash can. Okay. So successfully made it to the trash can. And now if I'm happy, I want to save this image. File. Save. If I click save, it's going to get rid of any earlier edits that I've done. So if this is it and I'm happy with it, I can do that. I can click File, Save. If I just want to save this as a copy, I can click File, Save As, tell it where I want to save it, and then maybe I want to rename this one so I can keep two separate editions. I can name this Calla Lily Edited. I do that all the time. And I don't really want to save the Photoshop edition. That's actually a huge file. I'll just save a JPEG and save it where? To my JPEG folder. Save. Okay, and again, you can check your quality. Make sure you're happy with that. And then I can close this out. So now it's asking me, do I want to save changes to the original file, the first one that I came in with? Do I want to save that? Well, that's going to save it as the edited file. So I'm going to say, don't save. Okay. And that's about it for now. I hope that, that you have fun editing your Photoshop images. Your photo walk images in Photoshop, and please let me know if you have any questions. We're keeping it simple for this week, so don't worry about getting too advanced. If you are using a software other than Photoshop and you're struggling with how to do this, that's a toughie. You're gonna have to kind of research your software, and I would suggest asking Google any question that you have about it. How do I change the hue saturation in my image in, for example, the GIMP. The GIMP is a free online software for photo editing. So yeah, and please just ask me. I'll try and help you the best I can with anything that you need.